Well, thank you, Jill. It's so great to be here. The Canada Regional Chamber of Commerce is doing some great work, and they brought us here together today. And our panel coming up is on expanding business relationships. Well, the very fact that I am standing here is great evidence of expanding business relationships. I represent Saskatchewan suppliers, and we spent the last couple of days with wonderful people from Kazakhstan. And that relationship came about because Tim Gitzel, the CEO of Cameco, a uranium mining company, got us involved. And then he called me to say, could you take Erlen here? We just heard grilling, poor Edward. Can you take Erlen to meet some potash mining people? So I did. And then from that, today, we had an event this morning. We had most of the brain power of Saskatchewan's potash sector in a room for 3 hours to talk with the Kazakh people, the Kazakh government, Kazakh geologists, Kazakh supply chain, to figure out and look at mining Kazakh potash. Both are critical minerals, by the way, uranium and potash. So we're doing something. So that was great to see. So today's panel, I'll just invite them to come up. We have ALMAS KUSHUMOV, Deputy Director of the Subsoil Use Department for the Solid Minerals Committee of the Republic of Kazakhstan. There's no room here. DMITRY BARSUKOV, the General Director of Cameco, Kazakhstan. I got to work with him before, actually, in Saskatchewan. QUDAIBERGEN, QUDAIBERGEN, he's the Chief Executive Officer of Great Wolf Management.
How beautiful is this?
First speaker will be ALMAS KUSHUMOV, the Deputy Director of the Subsoil Use Department. And he will be speaking on the topic today's expanding business relations.
Я как представитель Министерства индустрии и инфраструктурного развития чтобы вкратце ознакомить, чем занимается наше министерство. Мы координируем такие вопросы, как транспорт, гражданская авиация, вопросы обрабатывающей промышленности, оборонной промышленности, строительство дорог. Ну и, конечно же, одним из важных направлений это недропользование. Недропользование именно по твердым полезным ископаемым. Большое внимание уделяется привлечению инвестиций в этом направлении. Значит, в 2017 году была проведена правовая реформа. Был принят кодекс о недрах, который соответствует международным требованиям. Значит, был введен принцип первой заявки, переход на лицензионный режим. То есть до 2018 года действовал предоставление права недропользования было на основании контракта. С 2018 года был введен лицензионный режим. Были сокращены сроки предоставления права недропользования. Была принята программа управления Государственным фондом недр. Был закреплен переход на международный стандарт отчетности. Чтобы вы понимали, решение по предоставлению права недропользования принимается в течение 10 дней. Поэтому большая реформа была проведена, это дало сразу эффект. В отрасли появились компании-юниоры, более 700 компаний с 2018 года. Также были привлечены большие игроки, мировые игроки, большие компании, которые сейчас осуществляют свою деятельность в Казахстане. Очень приятно вчера было слышать именно про юниорские компании, которые работают в Казахстане именно с участием канадских учредителей, канадских инвесторов. И как отмечает канадская сторона, очень удобно работать, очень удобно законодательство, очень удобно работать в Казахстане. Это очень приятно было слышать. Как был принят кодекс о недрах с 2018 года, было выдано более 2000 лицензий на разведку и добычу твердых полезных ископаемых. Как я уже отметил, значит, было привлечено более 700 юниоров, и доля, значит, из 2000 лицензий, доля юниорских компаний составила более 90%. Только за прошлый год было рассмотрено больше 1000 заявок на получение лицензий на разведку. И выдано из них почти 400 лицензий. На сегодняшний день доступно для геологоразведки доступно порядка 1,4 миллиона квадратных километров территории Казахстана. Только 5% из них зарецензированы. То есть на самом деле потенциал большой именно в этом направлении. Сейчас ведется соответствующая работа, чтобы привлечь еще дополнительно инвесторов, инвестиций именно в геологоразведку. До 2018 года действовал режим предоставления права недропользования по контрактам. До сих пор контракты существуют. Те компании, которые до этого получили право недропользования, работают по контрактам. Таких контрактов на сегодняшний день 431. Имеется свободные месторождения, которые Казахстан может предоставить, по которым Казахстан может предоставить право недропользования. Здесь только отмечена часть, 14 месторождений. Сейчас ведется работа по тем участкам, по тем компаниям, которые не работают. Они возвращают контракты, лицензии, и эти участки будут в дальнейшем доступны для предоставления права недропользования. Планируется проведение, все те участки, которые освободятся, по ним планируется проведение аукционов в текущем году, в следующем году. Аукционы планируется проводить в электронном формате. То есть абсолютно все будет прозрачно. Есть потенциал по строительству заводов. На сегодняшний день по железному сырью экспортируется порядка 12 миллионов тонн в год ежегодно. Экспорт в таких направлениях, как Китай, Россия. И здесь есть потенциал по строительству сталеплавильного завода. Есть потенциал по строительству электролизного завода. Ежегодно экспортируется порядка 800 тысяч тонн глинозема. То, что касается медного концентрата, экспортируется порядка 1 миллиона тонн в год. Необходим медиплавильный завод. Также есть возможность построить завод по выпуску готовой свинцовой продукции, так как есть возможность, так как экспортируется 84 тысячи тонн в год. Это только отдельные примеры, таких примеров много, которые можно, именно есть ниши, где можно создать заводы, обрабатывающие производства, перерабатывающие мощности, и на территории Казахстана всю эту продукцию выпускать. Планируется проведение аукционов. 25 резервных участков мы выставили в этом году. Значит, в мае месяце планируется проведение аукционов по ним. Это такие полезные ископаемые, как золото, серебро, фосфориты, кварцит, барит, уголь, ну и другие полезные ископаемые. Онлайн аукционы планируется провести на электронной платформе. Если у кого есть желающие принять участие, необходимая информация, мы можем поделиться. Вот здесь вот список тех месторождений, которые были выставлены на аукцион. Здесь как раз указаны полезные ископаемые и указаны запасы по месторождению. 25 участков. По ним, значит, вы можете посредством указанных QR-кодов получить тизеры на английском или на русском языке, а также контактную информацию, с кем вы можете, у кого вы можете получить информацию дополнительную по проведению аукционов. Если вас заинтересует получение геологической информации, у нас в Казахстане создана Национальная геологическая служба, указано, вот представитель указан вот внизу, значит, внизу презентации. Вы можете заказать отчеты геологические. Один отчет стоит, получить копию отчета стоит порядка где-то около $100. По редкоземельным элементам в Казахстане также есть месторождения. Есть те месторождения, где уже работают недропользователи, есть свободные месторождения резервные. По ним информацию также можете получить в Национальной геологической службе. Большая работа ведется, значит, по цифровизации сферы недропользования. В прошлом году, в ноябре месяце, в пилотном режиме была запущена система minerals.gov.kz. Интерактивная карта, участки свободные, занятые, возможность получения лицензий на разведку, на добычу уже посредством этой системы. Загружено более 30 тысяч геологических отчетов. То есть любой желающий может онлайн зайти на информационную систему, зарегистрироваться и получить необходимую информацию. Эта система уже действует. Также эта система действует, посредством этой системы можно направлять уведомления, обмениваться уведомлениями. Данная система сейчас идет развитие. То есть это только был пилотный проект. Сейчас еще другие функции, все функции, которые связаны с недропользованием в Республике Казахстан, они будут оцифрованы посредством указанной системы. Ну и для кооперации, если есть у кого-то какие-то вопросы дополнительные, здесь указаны телефоны, имейлы, мой телефон, значит, телефон комитета геологии и телефон председателя Национальной геологической службы. То есть мы открыты для сотрудничества. Если какие-то есть вопросы дополнительные, можете обращаться. Мы всегда предоставим информацию. Спасибо.
Well, thank you, ALMAS. Next, we have DMITRY BARSUKOV. He's the General Director for Cameco, Kazakhstan. The gentleman I've had the pleasure of knowing for several years, and he's here today.
Thank you, Eric, and good afternoon, everyone. Let me start by saying how pleased I am to be here today in this conference, along with many distinguished guests, diplomats and representatives from abroad and here in Canada. This event brings together people from many countries, and it is always a great opportunity to reconnect with old friends and to make new ones. The previous time I had an opportunity to take part in this conference was in 2020, the year that will remain in history as the one when we all learned what a pandemic really is. I recall how challenging it suddenly became to get back from Toronto to Kazakhstan, with airlines abruptly canceling flights from anywhere to everywhere. 2023 so far has shown to have enough of its own major challenges, but I must say it is great that we're able to get together again. And I hope that everyone will enjoy today's event and make it a productive one for themselves. For those of you who don't know me, I'm General Director of Cameco Kazakhstan, a subsidiary of Cameco Corporation, a major producer of uranium and a supplier of nuclear fuel services for the global nuclear industry. I've been in this role for nearly 5 years, and overall with Cameco and its subsidiaries for 21 years, during which I've been involved with our mining operations in several countries, including our partnership with Kazatomprom in Kazakhstan. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about that great partnership and what the experience has been like for our company in that wonderful country. You know, Cameco was actually one of the first Western companies to venture into Kazakhstan back in 1992. At that time, we were looking to expand our uranium portfolio, and we were hopeful about the potential opportunities we saw in the country at that time. But I don't think we could have ever imagined what a truly great partnership it would develop into and how much it would come to mean to Cameco. We've shared some of this history at CECC events before, but we think this context is helpful in showcasing what has been done over the years to develop our partnership. The next milestone came in 1994 when we had completed a mutually beneficial investment and marketing agreement that committed Cameco to help flow Kazakhstan's uranium to Western markets. That early relationship then paved the way to our most important partnership in the region, the Inkai joint venture. After all the necessary feasibility and technical studies were completed, in 2004, Cameco announced that we would develop the Inkai uranium deposit in tandem with Kazakhstan's government at that time. From there, years of teamwork and collaboration culminated in a historic day in 2009 when commercial production at Inkai started, with commissioning of the main processing plant following in 2010. Since then, Inkai has been a top source of uranium production, one we've had the pleasure of watching produce consistently with an unwavering focus on safety. Inkai has and continues to provide great benefit to the people of Kazakhstan, employing approximately 800 local people with good paying jobs. It's among the best uranium mining operations in the world and a significant deposit that will provide many years of production. In fact, 2022 was another year when JV Inkai successfully produced 3,200 tons of uranium, and it is projected to produce the same amount in 2023. So we're very pleased that things are running so smoothly there. We've also now been operating for 5 years under the restructuring agreement that we signed in 2016. The new agreement was fully implemented in 2018, and I can tell you that the transition has gone quite well and our partnership has remained strong. It's an arrangement that has cleared the path to move both Cameco and Kazatomprom closer to realizing the full potential of the investment in Inkai. Such level of cooperation wouldn't be possible without strong relationships, and I'd like to highlight a few aspects of what Cameco has been doing to foster positive relationships with our partner in Kazakhstan and the country. Over the past 20 plus years, Kazatomprom has transformed from a small uranium company to the largest uranium producer in the world and diversified into other areas of the front end of the nuclear fuel cycle. Our joint venture has been a part of that growth, but Cameco continues to play a role that goes beyond our successful joint venture. For example, we licensed uranium processing technology to Kazatomprom that will help our partner to continue growing their involvement in the front end of the nuclear fuel cycle. At the international level, we support and regularly participate in a number of events in Kazakhstan that are organized by the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA. Such events range from radiation safety training courses to technical meetings, one of which is being planned to take place in Kazakhstan in October. In a broader perspective, Cameco has been very active in the Foreign Investors Council under the President of Kazakhstan. Our President and CEO, Tim Gitzel, will be attending the 35th plenary session of the Foreign Investors Council that will be held in June in Astana. Our work in the Council is focused on joining the efforts with other major foreign investors and the government of Kazakhstan in improving the investment climate in the country. And I'd be remiss to not mention that organizations like Canada-Eurasia Chamber of Commerce, CCC, and Kazakhstan-Canada Business Council, KCBC, have also played a very important role to all of us in helping move our relationships along. Since the creation of KCBC in 2015, Cameco and Kazatomprom have been its co-chairs and oversaw 5 highly successful plenary sessions, the latest of which was held in Astana just a few months ago. That's the picture from there. So work continues on many fronts to further cement the partnership we have and the commitment we've made to bring the multiple benefits of nuclear energy to the world. And those benefits go beyond business. Together we've made a commitment to give back to a number of community initiatives over the years in areas such as athletics, youth, education, and local infrastructure. Undoubtedly, our partnership with Kazatomprom in Kazakhstan has been a source of great pride for Cameco over the past 30 years. Over the years, we developed a strong foundation that has allowed us to continually find common ground and open up mutually beneficial opportunities. So far, I spoke mostly of the historic perspective, so now let me now say a few words about the future. After a difficult decade in the nuclear industry, we're seeing the best sentiment and long-term fundamentals in a long time. Over the next 30 years, global electricity demand is expected to double, which means we're going to need every source of electricity we have operating today and then double it. That's substantial growth. At the same time, there continues to be a growing concern over carbon emissions. And lastly, energy security has forcefully come to the forefront of the global agenda recently. So the world is demanding massive amounts of new energy, and they want it to be safe, clean, and reliable. And nuclear energy ticks off all those boxes. That's why we believe the future is bright for both Cameco and Kazatomprom, with global growth in nuclear energy playing a key role. That's also good news for countries like Canada and Kazakhstan with vast uranium resources. We're excited by what we can continue to build from here to provide the uranium that will help in energizing a cleaner world, which is Cameco's vision. Together with Kazatomprom and Kazakhstan, we know that we can energize a cleaner world and continue to improve the lives of people in both of our countries. And we're looking forward to doing just that in the years and decades to come. Thank you again and for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Dmitry. It's great to hear the story of a great Canadian company doing great work in Kazakhstan, building an enterprise there, building and so many things, and hopefully we can do potash next and maybe get into rare earths and whatever else we can get our hands on. Anyway, our next presenter I met yesterday, met again this morning, keep meeting him everywhere I go now. His name is KUNAT. KUNAT QUDAIBERGEN. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Grey Wolf Management.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here today, and let me explain some details of my speech. Obviously, I don't want to repeat all of the conditions which were set by my colleagues, and I want to talk about the very important part of the every business about financing. So, as mentioned before, how mentioned before, my colleagues in Kazakhstan, since the implementation of the new Subsoil users code, I think field of geology has experienced a renaissance in Kazakhstan. More than 2,000 licenses issued by the authorized body. As for your information, in the last 30 years, no new major deposit has been discovered in Kazakhstan, and the geological exploration work has come to a halt. Only 35%, according to our Minister of Industry, of the country's territory has been covered by geological exploration work. All existing deposits are nearing the end of their production, which were discovered in Soviet Union period. And in Kazakhstan has good geopolitical location, despite of some complicated situation nowadays, but I think our location it gives once again great opportunities. Country Kazakhstan is located on the Silk Road, has well-developed infrastructure and qualified workforce, and we have a favorable business environment. I think, and Kazakhstan, it's heart of Eurasia and the gateway to the markets of Central Asia. Furthermore, in the context of challenges nowadays, due to changes in supply chain systems and resource sources, the mining industry in Kazakhstan is becoming quite relevant. The government is creating conditions to attract investment in geology and mining activities in the country. As I mentioned before, a new code on subsoil use has launching. A new model was also launching as a model of it's a very similar of the Western Australian system. Transition to CRISCA standards has been ensured. A new standard for calculating reserves called CAS-RC has been introduced, which is analogous to JORC or NI 43-101. Exactly more than 2,000 licenses have been issued. New areas for geological exploration work are opening up, and more information is available nowadays. So, in recent years, the government has been actively taking back many objects that were not developed by unscrupulous subsoil users. And digital geology database being created, and the program of accessing geological information is implemented. The AFC, for your understanding, it's some copy-paste of the Dubai International Financial Center with our own jurisdiction under common law jurisdiction with independent court. So a new environmental code has come into force, introducing international standards and a new approach to environmental protection. The development of a new tax code is underway, and we hope that instead of mining extracting tax, we will have royalties on mineral resource, which will have a significant positive impact to the mining industry. Nowadays, all of these reasons, many large mining companies are actively investing in exploration in Kazakhstan, creating their own dependent exploration companies. However, in the world, the main driving force in this area is junior mining companies. According to my own experience, I know that creating own service companies by big, large companies, mining companies, has never been an effective solution. Considering all of these circumstances, in Kazakhstan we have decided to create a direct investment fund on AIFC place that will provide a source of funding for exploration work. And our focus area is not only Kazakhstan and I think whole Central Asia, our brother countries, and including Mongolia. Mission of the fund it's to establish and enhance a long-term value for us, our investors and shareholders. While in the West such funds are part of the system, in Kazakhstan the direct investment market is not yet fully formed. We want to give impetus to the development of the junior market in the field of subsoil use through the creation of this fund. Considering that banks do not finance projects in exploration sector and there is a lack of a sufficiently developed stock market, a direct investment fund is the most effective way to attract funds for such projects. Our folks, the fund has identified target metals from the list of the future minerals and is actively investing in projects related to their extraction, processing and distribution. Additionally, the fund places a strong emphasis on logistics, including supply chain and procurement. We are committed to adhering in ESG principles in all our activities. And very main our goal to raise our capital and the value of our projects from exploration until scoping study or pre-feasibility study. As you know, we have a lot of projects with a historical database which is based on JKZ standards, and we want to develop these projects until transfer to JORC standards and attract in this to creating this value a lot of investments for per project depends on each project. And finally, I think prioritizing the green technologies and the sustainability, the fund seeks to play a leading role in the transition to a more environmentally responsible and resource efficient economy. Thank you for your attention. Please feel free to contact us for more information about investing into Kazakhstan and use our fund in mining industry Kazakhstan. Thank you.
Thank you, QANAT. It's interesting you speaking of a resource sector fund. And this morning he was speaking with a gentleman at our potash event who does the same thing in potash, and it's nice to see happening in both countries. I have one question, and it'll be for all the panelists, and you're going to take turns answering. We'll start with ALMAS. And is the translation working for you, ALMAS? Okay, good. I want to make sure I'm not leaving him out on this. We were talking about expanding business relations, and I was wondering, given your roles, what have you found to be the best practice for building business relations, country to country, between businesses and such? We'll start with ALMAS, if you can.
Для привлечения инвестиций у нас в Казахстане работаем по нескольким направлениям. Одно из направлений – это через Министерство иностранных дел, через наши посольства в зарубежных странах. Мы, когда планировали проводить аукционы, готовили тизеры, информацию передавали как раз таки Министерство иностранных дел, чтобы по своим каналам они сделали максимальную рассылку для оповещения всех желающих за рубежом инвесторов принять участие в освоении месторождений Казахстана. Также у нас работа ведется через Казахинвест, компания, казахстанская компания, которая также освещает вопросы, связанные с гидропользованием. Мы всегда открыты, наше министерство. Мы на постоянной основе проводим встречи с инвесторами. Инвесторы приезжают в Казахстан, они заинтересованы в вложении инвестиций в Казахстан. Мы предоставляем всю необходимую информацию, поддержку. Много бывает вопросов, связанных с простыми процедурными вопросами, связанными куда обратиться, как получить, какой документ предоставить, с кем связаться, где посмотреть. То есть такая полностью сопровождающая поддержка со стороны министерства, она, конечно же, предоставляется. В принципе, вкратце, я думаю.
So at the next session at the break, get yourself one of these. It's a little there's a live translation from Russian to English for some of you who haven't been catching up. I know some of you didn't have one. In short, he described a series of government agencies and policies and transparency pieces and things that enable business to be conducted by various departments within the government of Kazakhstan, and that communication piece, and I think that was about it. It was the best I can do quickly. The same question now of Dmitry, of maybe some best practices.
Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Well, I guess I can answer that question from the perspective of building a successful partnership between companies in Kazakhstan. And I think the answer is going to be, a universal one. It's the same aspects, the same principles would apply in many other situations in life. You have to have respect for your partner. You have to honestly be willing to consider your partner's interests. And I think you need to be looking for win-win solutions. So not solutions where one party would lose and the other would win, but where both parties can win. And so I think that that's a successful recipe for long-term successful partnership. So it sounds like I'm talking about marriage or something. But essentially I think that's what it is.
Thank you, Dmitry. One of the things he and I have talked about before is, for example, the partnership the Cameco has with the First Nations people in northern Saskatchewan. They're the largest industrial employer of First Nations people in the country of Canada. And they do a phenomenal job of building relationships. They're building a supply chain in an area where there wasn't a supply chain to begin with. They didn't just find partners, they actually built the supply chain and got the partners involved, and they've done a wonderful job of it. So while his comments were great marriage advice, and I thank you, by the way, I need that. It's great business advice. We'll finish with QANAT. I mean, he's been a wonderful person to speak, so QANAT, you can speak to the best practice.
I guess the expanding in business according to new opportunities in Kazakhstan, it depends on in success stories which we achieved before. For example, Cameco. I think it's one of the best cases of what we can do and what we can achieve. Kazakhstan has nowadays very favorable investment climate. Exactly, and obviously Kazakhstan is independent country, not part of the Russia, not part of the China, and it's an independent country with some multiple vector foreign policy, and it gives opportunity in our country. Gives opportunity for all of the companies from abroad, and we discussed today in the morning about the business to develop in potash, to extract and to recover potash, producing. It's one of the niche which we can develop nowadays. Yes, before we had two big companies in Eurasian Union. There are Uralkali and the Belkali, and we didn't need to develop this sector. And nowadays, and according to some challenges, and according to a huge demand of mostly from European country mineral fertilizers, we can produce potash, and we have a lot of empty niches in I think in mining sector. There are producing of earth metals, battery metals mainly. Mineral fertilizers, and to develop some petrochemical and the chemical industries, nuclear industries also. There are a lot of opportunities from large company until small mining, small industrial companies, I think.
Thank you, QANAT. It's been interesting. They were speaking about the investments in Kazakhstan and how they kind of portray the trusts that are being developed in the country and what's going on. I believe Chevron made a $35 or $30 billion announcement recently. At this morning's potash event, I won't be speaking out of school because it was public because you were there. Nutrien was there, sending senior leadership. There's some big companies looking to Kazakhstan, and it's great to see this, and I'm so pleased to have been involved in this, so thank you for having me here.